Level up your business. Get my free insights every week at stevepreda.com/newsletter. Good day, Steve Preda here with the Management Blueprint. And today my guest is Dimond, the founder and CEO of Fifth Cor, a marketing and innovation company harnessing the best tools to support brands, consumers, and communities. Robin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve. I appreciate it.
Oh, wow. It's exciting to have you. And we already have some things in common that might or might not come up in the conversation. But what I'd like to ask you is, which is kind of my favorite question on this show, is what is your personal why and how are you manifesting it in Fifth and Core?
I think my personal why, I know what it is. My personal why is my legacy. And because I do not have children of my own, I get the great pleasure of having and being able to touch so many lives through employees, clients, and partners. So I get to live my why out every day. And I'm a little bit different than most CEOs. I'm looking for the next CEO to replace me. So I go in with the mindset of like, one of you will take my job one day. And it makes me super happy. That's my why.
Wow. So what do you want to be when you grow up?
What I want to be when I grow up. Technically, I'd like to be the janitor. I believe in cleaning up the message. So messes that are left. And I love that. I love the difficult clients. I love the difficult situations. And I think I'll step down one day and be the support for somebody who's currently on my team or the next person to join my team.
Wow. That is awesome. So you want to focus on the message as opposed to running the day to day, because that's where your interests lie and where you're building your legacy.
Yes, I think that is, they call it a chief heart officer some places. And it's that person that makes sure that the message of the company and what it's built on and its foundation is seen all the way through. And that's the part I love.
Yeah. So you're a real visionary.
Yes.
So we'll talk more about your vision, but what I want to ask you about is that this podcast is really about frameworks. So what we're trying to do here is really find some unique frameworks, processes, structures, way of looking at the world that CEOs have come up with that could help the audience members to think about the business in through a different lens. So anything that comes to mind along these lines?
What we found that really works for us is, when meeting somebody, we talk to them. Then we do a discovery to figure out if we're aligned. And we find that to be very helpful, whether it's with people, whether it's with our partnerships, whether it's with clients. So that discovery process to make sure we're all on the same page is so important. From there, we build out a blueprint for them. And then we present the blueprint like we were the ones to run the business.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure that we're answering those questions. We make sure that we're doing that. And then we have checkpoints. So we sit with a blueprint saying, okay, over the next 30, 60, and 90 days, where are our process? The thing that we do differently than most companies do is you don't get an account executive when you come to us. You get a team of people that you will see all their faces all the time. So there is no mismessaging. If you hire somebody with us, you get a team. So you'll get that director that's overlooking your strategy. You'll get a coordinator who's on top of trends. You'll get a public relations person, and you'll get a project manager who oversees, we call them our handlers, because they oversee the project all the way through. And it has made us successful, and it's made our clients super successful.
Let's love it. Love it. Especially the blueprint part of it, because it kind of chimes to the framework. So is this kind of your kind of blueprint? How is it unique?
It is, because everyone told us, when you look at agencies or agency models, and we try not to refer to ourselves as that, an agency model will have one account executive that person goes back. I call them the man behind the curtain, because they go back and talk to everyone. What we do is say, hey, you've hired us and you've hired experts. We put all of them copied into every email, on every call, working as a strategy with your team. And that's why some of our results are 10,000% growth on your platforms in only 90 days, because we can all work together as a team.
Wow. So that's very interesting, because it's not an easy thing to pull off.
Nope.
To have so many people work together. Maybe that's the secret sauce here.
The secret sauce is you can't even get promoted at this company if you don't hire your replacement. So if you haven't even trained someone behind you, don't come and ask me for a raise. Don't ask for a promotion. You should come and say, hey, Morgan's ready to move into my spot. This is how I got her here. I'm ready now to be promoted to the next role. So we are building tiny leaders behind us who are building teams.
That's such music to my ears. Yes, I mean that's it's all about being leaders, building a company, right?
Yes.
I totally agree with that. So how do you do that? How do you even do that? Does that mean that any subject matter expert that you might hire, they have to be a leader first and foremost? You can't have someone who just wants to be a specialist to stay a specialist?
So I say, if you're not growing, you're dying. So it should be in some way. So it starts in the interview process. And I think this is where a lot of CEOs miss. In the interview process, we start those questions. Where do you see yourself? Who are the 5 people you surround yourself with? What do you bring to the table? And asking those questions that are very open ended. Where do you see yourself going? And some people are so honest, Steve. I'd love to bring you on interviews because they're so honest. They're like, oh, I want to go to law school. I'm like, great. So your time here is going to be short. It's going to be the next year. What are you going to do in that next year? I'm
Mhm.
going to help you with contracts. Perfect. Okay, let's get you so your portfolio looks better so you can go on to the next thing. Sometimes we'll get a subject matter expert who is hyper focused in public relations, but they say, I want to be a creative director. Okay, great. So during your time here, what are you going to learn? What courses can we invest in you and what trips can we take you on? So we work with people who have a growth plan of their own and are willing to be agile. And that starts at the bottom and moves towards the top.
That's genius. Working with people who have a growth plan, because ultimately, if they don't have a growth plan, then most likely they're not going to grow, because you can't just grow without a plan, right? If you don't have a vision of growth, it's not going to happen. Does it mean you are flexible to adapt to some degree to these people with a growth plan so that you can share in the fruits of their growth?
Absolutely. We have people start in one section. So we have, operations, growth, delivery. We'll have someone start in delivery and see that they're so good at operations that we'll move them and then they'll backfill their role. So we have people who move horizontally, along with vertically, along into different groups. And I think that's the part that you have to be open with your team. You have to say, hey, Steve, you're not that great at creative. You know that. And you're like, yes. And I'm like, but you are so amazing at operations. Let's move you over there. Or Steve, you're such a great thought leader. And I've wanted to start a podcast. I would like to bring you in. Let's backfill your other role that you started with our company. So it's having that open dialect from day one and having the team be able to self recognize where they're strong and where they need to move.
Let's love it. Love it. So, what are the challenges with this model?
So many. When I first started, I think I saw what was not working. Before, for you to get ahead, you had to I spent my time in New York. You had to outpace that person. You had to kind of put the other person down so that you could get promoted. And I saw some negative in that. This, I would say, is being transparent and being vulnerable. It's also admitting where my mistakes lie or where my weaknesses are. I have dyslexia, so I should never proofread anything for anyone, truthfully. And so it's being vulnerable. And sometimes that leads to not the greatest people coming in to your company because you're putting yourself out there in the vulnerability. But for every bad apple, there's 20 great apples out there.
Yeah, I mean, this is beautiful. I always believe that in order to have people trust you, you kind of have to trust them first, and that's a fragile thing. And you have to put yourself out there, and then, okay, some people are going to take advantage of it, and you have
They
to.
are. And it happens. And I think for every business owner or any leader, they have to realize that that's going to happen. But that's going to happen in your dating life. That's going to happen in, relationships. It's going to happen in partnerships and business.
Mhm.
It's going to happen. But the great part and the great reward is seeing someone else come alongside and take your business to the next level or take your clients to the next level. And I think it's worth being vulnerable to gain that traction.
Mhm. Yeah, because those people don't want to work for a-holes, right? They want real people that they feel like treat them as equals in some ways, because they are also very talented people. So, Robin, let me switch gears here and ask you, what drives growth in Fifth and Core?
I think what drives growth is our innovation.
Mm,
And we are able to adapt very quickly in the world where marketing is constantly changing. And I don't know what the correct term, Steve, is, but I say squishied. we're getting the pressure from the platforms. So from social media, changes, updates, all of that. We get the changes in our coding. We get the changes in pressure from our clients, and we get the industry changes from boomers to millennials to Gen X. There's constant changing. And so we have to be agile. In our industry, when I started, it was doing billboards. Design was, a long process.
Yeah.
Now, if we're not adapting and changing every 30 to 60 days, we can't. So I can't make a roadmap or a blueprint for our company in 3 years. TikTok was here one day, it was gone the next day. Then it came back again. And so planning and strategizing is to be agile, to be flexible, and to be able to move around that for clients so that they don't lose their numbers. And I think that's what's driving growth is we're extremely innovative and we think quickly on our feet.
Can you give me an example?
Yes. During, I would say the TikTok one is a huge one because we were like, clients, you're about to lose your TikTok. They're warning it's going to disappear. And then the next day it was back. So we came up with complete strategies to get rid of it and then come back. The next is we do PR. And sometimes the world has some changes. So unfortunately, September 11th, we had some other things that happened in the news that were really big. It was something that we had to go to our clients and say, look, we need a new plan. We need a new change. We cannot be tone deaf right now going into it. I mean, that all happened obviously in September. It was a really quick, rapid change of what was going on. So I think that our example is, Shopify went down last week. So all of our clients' websites went down. There was nothing that we were doing. It was something that was outside of our control. But to sit there with our clients and say, okay, let's ramp up your social. Let's go live with some videos and talk about it. Let's do a press release of how you didn't lose sales during this time and how you're going to bonus back. So it's constantly thinking on our feet. It's constantly communicating with our clients and saying, look, this happened outside of us or you. This is how we're going to fix it.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how do you keep the team? So we talked about how you are attracting these A players
Mhm.
to your business and being flexible to make sure that you tap into their desire to grow and you grow with them their way and your way, obviously. But how do you get all these stars to work together?
So culture comes from the bottom up. It doesn't come from me. That would be dictatorship. So culture comes from the people we hire and we let them run with new ideas and they take ownership of those ideas. We did not have public relations 4 years ago. That was an idea of someone else's and now it's one of our largest service bases. Project management is another one. We were not ready to do project management, but people kept seeing our project managers and they were like, well, can we just hire them? Can we just hire them to do this service? They saw our project through. And so even if someone wasn't using marketing, they were using our project managers for tech implementations, events, marketing. So we've created opportunities for people to grow with us. But if you came with us, we say you have to grow in 5 areas of your life: health. So we actually have a challenge right now, Steve, if you want to join it. It's who can walk the most miles in June. So health is a challenge to make sure we focus on their health.
Mhm.
And we
Yeah.
have activities that are health, kayaking. If it's my LinkedIn post, if we want to go look, we do wealth. We want to make sure you're debt free. When you come to us, you don't have to be, but we want to make sure that we are debt free, that you're working with our CFO to get financially, if you're going to buy a home, if you're going to, we want you to be independently responsible outside of our company. So in case something does happen, you're
Mhm.
growing towards that. We want you to be spiritual, whatever you believe is your spiritual growth. So if that is going outside and laying in the grass, if it's going to your church, if it's giving back to your community, there should be a spiritual challenge. We look at your family and friends. They don't have to be blood, but you should be encouraging. And what have you done for your family and friends to grow them? Whether it's a family dinner, you'll see my team posting about their family dinner on LinkedIn. You'll see them talking about how they took time to go and do something activity wise with that. So we look at 5 areas of their life, making sure that they're growing, and we have challenges to do that. And then mental is the last one.
And
What books did you read? What courses did you take? What did you do to advance yourself? And Steve, they hold me accountable. They're like, did you finish that CEO book or are you gonna? I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, let me do it. So it is something that our team can challenge. And if you don't want to participate, please don't. But we're not the company that you should be joining.
that is amazing. So people really look after each other. You have this peer accountability going that makes sure that everyone is healthy and they get out of their financial challenges and make sure that the social network is around them and their mental health. That is amazing. Isn't that not too much for a company to take on that this is like a huge burden. Can be seen as a huge burden that you worry about all those people in so many different ways, and then you worry about your clients, and you want to make sure that your people work together. Doesn't that become overwhelming sometimes?
I don't have to work with my clients because I have the most amazing I work and focus on my team, and my team's love and joy goes working on our clients. It's a pass it down. It's a share it kind of thing. When they're happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, they take care of our clients better than I could ever. They know their birthdays, they know activities, they know different things. We constantly are monitoring that. I'm supposed to take care of our team.
Isn't that something that I don't know if it was Jeff Bezos in the early days, but
Back in his early days, he did
yeah,
say that, and I want to be focused on that, you know, I wanna be innovative. We reward innovation. If you come up with a new way of doing something, you can win prizes, bonuses, gift cards, like, it is always a challenge. How could you do something that's better? Someone just solved something we couldn't figure out for the past 3 years the other day, and I was like, "Open up your email, there's a gift card in there." We want to reward people. We want them to enjoy the bonuses of doing different things and thinking outside the box.
that's very exciting. It sounds like you're running a perfect business.
No, it's not perfect. People are messy. And I want other business owners to see that. There's some days that I look at, you know, the day and I'm like, whew, this is a big one. Or it's saying goodbye to the people who don't fit into that culture, who might be the bad apples. That's hard. You know, not every person we bring on is a right fit. Not every person wants to grow. Some people want to be button pushers for the rest of their lives. And we might have missed that. Those are the challenging days. Some days when you get super involved in people's lives, it means you get super involved in life and their health might diminish. You have to step in and take over. You know, we had somebody who fell backwards and fractured their skull. Well, we had to keep on going while they recovered. That is that whole part. It's not easy. It's scary. There's some days I'm like, what the heck am I doing, Steve? I say that a lot, but it's looking back and it's a reward.
So, Robin, what is one thing that you're actively trying to figure out in your business?
Right now, it's where the industry is headed. And we're actively all day, every day trying to figure that out. We are seeing the most innovation happen during these times, and keeping up with it is exhausting. And to give you an example, the printing press came, a car came. Right now, it is a next generation who was born with one of these in their hand. And whether it's AI that's coming, whether it's something, every day there's something new that's released. And so it's how do we adapt, but also not get burnt out? That is the biggest thing I'm trying to solution right now.
Yeah.
So if anyone would like to help me, please email me. I'll buy you new cocktails or coffee. I'll do either one because that is exhausting for a business owner right now.
So, what part of the adapting is the risky part? So, give me
I
an
think that
example of adapting and risking the burnout.
the burnout to stay on top of what is new every day, whether it's a new platform that came out, whether it's AI is going to replace all your marketing people. You know, it is that being flexible, but also being smart and not making too many decisions really quickly. Our advisory board is my backbone. So there are 5 advisors who feed into us that are sounding boards who give as much time as possible. And I think they're the ones who keep me in line. And I didn't have them at first. So I would recommend getting a board of advisors that
Mhm.
you really trust, that you can look at their lives and they can show you where burnout could happen.
And if you had the magic wand and you could fix something inside your business, what would that be? The
If
next
I
topic.
can, if I had the magic wand and I could fix anything inside of our business, I think I would fix the rate of where we're growing, if that makes sense. We're growing way faster than I thought. And my magic wand would be to just have enough systems in place to keep up with it.
Mhm.
Once we build a system, we outgrow that system. And I'm like, cheese and crackers, we're already outbuilt it. Like, so I think that would be to stay on that hamster wheel, that we put more infrastructure there.
Yeah, and with AI, it's a different kind of operating system, isn't it, for
It
companies?
is. AI needs to be used across everything. AI should be in your business. You should be using it. You should be leveraging it, but AI can't replace the people. And I think that's the biggest thing, is being able to adopt your team into systems that are AI, but also have them use their questions, their brains, their going back and checking on it.
Yeah. What I'm wondering sometimes about AI is that, yes, it is making us very productive. I can get a lot more done, but then at the same time, I have to make a lot more decisions. So the cognitive load is increased.
I didn't say that is my brain load never decreased with AI. I now have to solution problems faster. And I think that's where people are missing it. People are like, well, my blogs will write themselves now. I'm like, okay, but who's putting in that content for your blogs? Or, oh, it's going to put this product on my website faster. Okay, but who's double checking it? Where's the shipping going? Where's the numbers going? Like people need to think about we are doing things way faster. And then fatigue. We're being exposed to things at a swipe of a finger. You can see 6, 7, 8 things happening, and that's exhausting. And it's what is happening to the mental load of decision making.
Yeah. And then at the same time, it's not just that we have to make more decisions, but there's more noise out in the market. So you are out competing. Okay, everyone else is more productive. So it's just a war of what's the opposite of a war of attrition?
I don't even know. I know what you're talking about, but it's like you have to almost be so intentional now.
Yeah, it's the war of overwhelm, basically, not
Yes.
the war of attrition. Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, but let's go back to Fifth and Core. Basically, you come out of your discovery with this blueprint, and then you have this team approach. These people that are all being fully self-realizing on fifth areas in their lives, and they are coming and they're working together and they're incorporating AI. So, what is an ideal client that can really take advantage of all that you can do? So, not just parts of it, but everything. What's kind of the ideal client for you?
I love that question. An ideal client is not an industry or a revenue number that they have to have. An ideal client is a person who is coming with a problem and they are flexible and agile enough to let us come up with a solution and
Mm.
that they are a true partner. We have had a client that's been with us for 4.5 years, all the way since our conception, and they have been able to roll with all the new and they trust us. So it is a person who is innovative in their business. They're willing to be agile when they move. That is the perfect client. Revenue does not matter. You can have all the revenue in the world, but if you're slow to adapt or you're not willing to go with the times and the changes, that's a problem. What we did pre COVID does not work right now. The same things that worked 6 months ago don't work now. So the ideal client must be somebody who's willing to be innovative. They're going to attract new ideas and that they're going to be able to execute quickly.
Do you have a way to help your clients be more like that?
Yes. So even in our onboarding stakeholder session, before when we do a discovery call and we do the proposal, we talk to them about that. We help them set up. We come up with SOPs so that they have processes documented throughout the whole time. I always say, in case we get hit by the lottery bus, that's the best way of saying if we disappear tomorrow, you have systems in place that your business will not need us. So we help them grow and then we have checkpoints with them. Okay, are we doing this? These are the results. This is what you trusted with us the past 30 days. Here's what we're doing the next 30 days. So we're constantly meeting with them and saying this. Clients who do not work out long term are the ones who are like, no, we've always done it this way and we're going to keep doing it that way. Those are just the ones I'm like, well, why did you even call us? If you've always done it and you weren't getting results, that's the definition of insanity. So it is clients who are willing to move with us, move with the times, and are willing to like bring in other teams. I love that. They'll bring in their tech team or they'll bring in their logistics team to sit there and say, okay, what are we doing and how do we take it to the next level?
Love it. And you can only do this with A players because
Yep.
otherwise you will
Right.
be very able. Love it. So if you're listening to this podcast and Robbie Diamond explaining her business and how she is putting her employees first and making sure that they have a fully rounded life, so that they can be, live up to their potential inside the business, plus harness their own growth ideas. So you're tapping into what they already want to do, and then the whole clients, they are brought along and the same thing happens to them. They are being inspired and then they are being asked to do better, and then you help them. So if you want to be a client that enjoys that kind of approach, then my question to you, Robin, is where can they find you and your colleagues, and what should be their first step?
Perfect. So you can find us at fifthandcore.com. Fifth represents the five senses, and core is Latin for heart. So that's the reason why we do everything, is the heart behind our senses. So fifthandcore.com, or you can find us on LinkedIn, and you can personally go after me. It's Robin Dimond. I'd love to connect with you. I already have 30,000 connections, so I'd love to do that and set up a meeting with you.
That's fantastic. You know, my most of my parents were doctors, and my dad passed away, but my mother is still a dermatologist, and my dad was a cardiologist, and they have a company, and it's called Dermacor, which is basically the skin and the heart. So,
I love that.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
All
now
right.
that we know we're related, so I feel like I feel like that's just part of our story too.
Yeah, that's a Central European idea, perhaps. So, if you enjoyed this episode, well, obviously reach out to Fifth and Core, find out more about what Robin and her team is up to, and stay tuned because every week I bring a wonderful entrepreneur like Robin who's got great ideas, and you can try to steal their ideas. So, thanks for coming, Robin, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode. Keep moving your business forward. Subscribe at stevebreda.com/newsletter.